What's up, y'all? It's Anthony Lee, A. Lee Real Estate, and we are back. IG Live. We are going to do an interview tonight with Keith Hunter. He is a full-time person. He's a person with a full-time job, but he wants to share with you guys how to invest in properties or how he invested in the property while working his 9 to 5. So, we always talk about real estate, and a lot of people talk about, their experience, but we never talk to the guys that are just getting started. So tonight we're going to share with you that experience that Keith had rehabbing his first property and how he did it with a 9 to 5. And some of the things that happened. So definitely as soon as he jumps in here, he might even be in here. And I will share that with you guys. Let me see if he is in here. All right, he might not be in here yet. But with that said, I hope you guys had a good week. He just jumped in here. Here we go. So I just got it up. Keith,
What's going on?
not much. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Long day, but you can see me?
I can see you. You good?
All right, cool. Don't mind me if I have a
Nah,
little
you
swig.
good. You good. Turn on that light. Oh, you gonna say hi to Mr. Keith?
How's the key?
That's your page, or that's my page. Let me see. Yeah, that's your page. All right, go ahead. Go ahead and be it. All right, let's give Keith a second to get his page going, but I think he is back already.
All right, we back. My bad.
All good, all good. Glad to have you, man. How was your day? How was your week, man?
Pretty busy. I'm still dealing with this property stuff, but that's what we're going to talk about, so.
Okay. All right. Well, how you holding up though? From the grind of the 9 to 5, and then the grind of trying to push your goals and your dreams.
Pretty good. It's challenging. It's almost like having kids. But no, it's challenging. Every day is a busy day.
So talk about that. Like, so since you've purchased, or let's talk about this though. What made you get into real estate? Start with there.
Glad you asked that. So we go back to I want to say like 2015, right? Living in an apartment. Had to move because the landlord wanted to renovate. Rent was like $750. They wanted to renovate and then bring the rent up to like $1,200, which I couldn't afford.
Right.
So I had to move across the city to somewhere I did not want to stay. Rent there was probably like $1,500. Didn't like the people I was living next to, and then I quickly realized, like, yo, you can't afford where you live at. Then the other thing is, I just like I realized the importance of ownership. And as long as I lived, as long as I was a what you call it, a tenant, I was never gonna have control over my biggest living expense.
Got you. So for you, going from that transition, I guess, like you said, you realize, I'm paying $1,500 in rent, and I barely can afford it, but I'm paying it, and that's the
Right.
bulk of the income, right? So you said, I take it, did you, at some point you moved, you purchased a home? Is the mortgage now cheaper than?
Way cheaper.
Way cheaper than rent?
Yeah. Way cheaper.
That's what's up. So with that, what did you do with the money you were, I guess, saving or not spending because your mortgage was cheaper than the rent?
Wait, repeat that one more time. My bad.
What did you do with the funds, being that your mortgage was less than the rent? So like that gap, that additional income, what did you do with that?
Oh yeah, I just kept saving it. So I, found a a use for it. But I want to go back to when I told you I was renting. So that's how I really got into like, wanting to own a home. One day I called Ugo, shout out to him,
Mm-hmm.
and just started picking his brain because like everybody else, I thought you had to have 20% down to purchase a home. So he's like, no, you can do 3.5% first time home buyer. And I started picking his brain. I started asking him like, yo, what if you bought a house that was messed up? Like, how much would it cost to, just kind of make it how you want? Instead of buying a house for 200,000, can you buy a house for like 60 and then, spend 80 and get what you want? And that's kind of how like the gears start turning and it started making sense to me.
So what happened for you, I guess, like so talk about that. What was the next steps for you? So like you got that, he told you could buy a house and renovate it. So how'd that work?
I continued to do research. I kind of dragged my feet with it. Then he had a seminar at NACA. So, normally I tell people, oh yeah, I'm gonna show up to your, to your event. Don't show. But this time was different. Showed up, learned about their like I think it's like no down payment or whatever kind of program they had. Kind of stumbled upon the 203K loan, where you purchase the house, renovate it. So I was kind of like just gathering information as I went along and kind of just putting it together.
Okay. So in that process, that house you renovated, that was the personal house you lived in.
Yeah.
Okay. So your transition starting point was, yo, I'm renting, now I own a house.
Right.
And how long did it take you from the time you bought the first house to buy what you just bought within this last year was your first investment property, correct?
Correct. About 2 years. About 2 years. And the thing is, so like when I first bought my house, I did a 203K loan, which was a construction loan. That went horrible. So I'll probably get into that, but that went horrible. And then I kind of took my time to regroup. I had to get a new roof. I kind of had to adjust to home ownership because it's not like when you live in an apartment, something breaks, you can just call maintenance. With a home, you need a new roof, $3,500. So, you got to really learn how to really manage your finances.
Got you. So for you, I guess, in that 2-year span, like, how'd you put the play together to go from homeowner to now investor? Because we're all, like, for me, I'm always preaching like, yo, you just need to get the first house. Mm-hmm. After the first house, whether you want to move up and get the move up house for you personally, or whether you want to buy investment properties, it starts with the first house.
Right. So you had I hate calling them seminars, but you had an event at TD Bank.
Okay, I remember
a couple years ago. It was like 2017. It was you and Dom.
Yup, common ground. Salute.
Y'all had an event, and y'all was talking about LLCs.
Right.
And that's when it kind of opened my mind up to a whole different world. I remember you telling me about all the, properties you acquired, LLCs, how it didn't show up on your credit. And I think that's when I realized you can create a good amount of passive income from real estate. Like you ain't got to go out here and, necessarily try to, I don't know, play basketball, whatever it is you want to do. But that kind of introduced me to, LLCs, having multiple companies under LLC. And that's when I kind of started to explore that and wanted to own multiple properties.
So in that time frame, like what would you say is what's your long-term goal? What are you trying to accomplish with these properties?
Long term, definitely I want to leave my job, but I'll be honest, I want to leave my job, but the freedom. I do want to get into like interior design, so that's my passion in real estate. Like the whole, buying a house, rehabbing, like that's cool, but I want to get into staging, interior design. But right now, it's just about building passive income so I can get that freedom to do so.
Using those properties to get you out the 9-to-5. So, but would you say having a 9-to-5 is what really helped you? Like, would you say financially, did having a 9-to-5 make a difference in you being able to go from one property to two properties in the 2-year span?
Oh, for sure. You know, I used to think like, I don't want the 9 to 5. It's getting on my nerves, but this rehab, to be honest with you, like having that W-2 is powerful. I got friends who don't have a W-2, and like to get a mortgage is just it's more complicated. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, having that 9 to 5, just that guaranteed income,
Mm-hmm.
is how I was able to pretty much float 2 mortgages for like 6 months.
Right. So talk about that part. So you got congratulations. So you got the first investment property.
Mm-hmm.
You bought that in the LLC, and I'm assuming you took a hard money loan out.
Yep.
So, but you were talking about the rehab process. So like, or how about this? Just tell us about your experience with the property. Let's talk about that. What was your experience like?
Which one? My investment or my home?
Investment. The one you recently did, the investment.
Where do you want me to start? Because you know a good portion of it. Just in the beginning.
Wherever you want to start. Like for people who don't know, like just tell us about that experience of, you know, once you got the keys, like what happened from there?
All right, so wait, we're going to back up before I got the keys because I think that's the important part. So for about 2 years, you know, saved up my money, went to a bunch of seminars, just really couldn't get going. Like I had the credit, you know, I had some cash, I knew a lot of information on LLCs, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't executing. So the last blueprint or ride along that you had, I'm like, look, I'm gonna pay for this. This time I'm not going to just get information. I'm going to really figure out like, yo, are you scared to do this? Like what's going on? So long story short, you know, you created the group chat. And for those couple of months, I was just banging out business credit, 20,000 here, 40,000 here.
Ooh.
And you know, I had that momentum going. So you know, you dropped that deal in the group chat and I jumped right on, and I ain't gonna hold you, I was nervous. But I was nervous. So I used business credit for the down payment. I think the down payment it was like 8,000, but you know, with closing costs, of course, we had a lot more. But so I used business credit for the down payment, and you know, signed the purchase contract, and everything was good. So we get to closing, and this was like my first oh shit moment. We about to close. Lender sends the HUD, and for those of you who don't know what that is, a HUD is like it's like the final document. It shows you how much money you got to bring to closing. So on my mind, all the fees, the down payment, everything's about 20 something thousand. I got to bring 15 grand to the table. I mean, 15% to the table. I got like a little wholesale fee and some closing costs. So I'm like, all right, 21,000. I'm using business credit. I'm good. I get the HUD. That joint says $34,000. It's
Right.
half an hour to closing. So I'm like, you know, $13,000 short. I didn't panic, but I was like, oh shit, like, all right. I swore nothing was gonna happen. Like, you know what I mean? You hear about everybody's bad deals, but I swore I was gonna be good. So I'm $13,000 short. And I remember calling you and I'm like, yo, and you're like, yo, you good? I'm like, yeah, but I was not good. So beat up $13,000 short. I got the money from all the other banks. Shout out to Herman for the, you know, some of the business credit. I went into can I give him the bank?
Give it to him.
I went into TrueMark. The thing I like about TrueMark, they allow you to transfer money from the credit card directly to your checking account. You ain't got to use no third party or nothing. It is a little fee, but who cares about that when you're buying a crib?
This business credit with TrueMark or personal?
No, this was business credit.
Okay, TrueMark.
Right. Now I would have did it with business, but yeah, it was business credit. So walked in, told the teller, look, I need you to transfer 10 grand to the checking. Did a cash advance and pulled some money out of like another nearby bank, and we had the money.
Got you.
Showed up the closing, and that's all she wrote from there. The messed up part was the extra 10 grand I used was supposed to be to start the rehab.
Ooh, right. Because
I
these
do want to
hard,
talk about that, but go ahead.
just talked about that. The hard money lenders don't give you the money to start the rehab. You got to start the rehab and they reimburse you.
thing, before we go further, the contract was for 55,000. I was laughing all day because it's 55,000 for the home, and I just brought 34 grand to the table. Like I felt like I could have just bought the house. Um, so here's a funny thing. Like I know we always talk about credit. Credit kind of saved me in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I walked into well, I ain't gonna tell you what kind of bank, all the banks I got, but walked into the bank when I was trying to get all the money, and the lady said, "Yo, you qualify for like a $10,000 credit card or something like that." And I remembered that. So after closing,
You went back.
I went back to work. I called the bank. I said, "Yo, what's the highest credit limit y'all go up to?" They said 19K. How much you want? All of it.
Give me that. Y'all giving it, I'm taking it.
Woke up the next day, the extra, I think it was 25K.
Okay, congratulations.
So that's the importance for anybody who's joining Anthony's like ride along or blueprint. He gonna let you know what banks pull what credit unions, so that way you know like the bank I went to, they pulled Experian, which was they were my strongest like that was my strongest like credit report.
Right.
So I knew I could get that money. So it's important to know how you look on paper and you know what relationships you have with what banks.
Gotcha. So Carrie Howard asks, why did you have to pay all that money at closing?
So I'll break it down a little bit for what I remember. So the contract price was 55,000.
Right.
But remember, there was a wholesale fee in there. The wholesale fee was like 10K.
Right.
So
the hard money lenders don't cover the wholesale fee.
right. So my down payment was really like 7,000 or something like that. The wholesale fee was like 10, so we had 17,000. And then there was like a holdback, I think, with the lender. So that's where the extra 10K came in.
Yeah, so they made you pay some mortgage payments up front in advance, in addition to the closing costs and title fees.
Right, and that might have been because I was a new, like a first time, like buyer.
Right.
So I think that was the reason why.
So that, in addition to like if you run the numbers, the lender is going to put some skin in the game or make you put some skin in the game, like you said, for 55,000 to have you come to the table with just the bare minimum. You know, they like, yo, that's a big risk on their part. So sometimes they'll have you pay, like Keith just said, additional costs, you know, but again, sometimes the numbers don't come in till last minute. So, you know, you always want to be prepared for the worst. And like you said, luckily you had, you know, a few backup pieces. And the thing is, that would have just made, if you didn't spend it on the closing costs, you would have had extra cushion on the rehab and you'd have been moving smooth. And like, I know the feeling because even my apartment unit I'm doing now, I thought I had this extra money, and then we had an expense come up during the renovation that ate my extra money. So, you know, the money is never your money, no matter how much you think you up. In the real estate game, it's something that's going to eat it up that sometimes you just cannot foresee.
Right. A lot of soft costs. I remember you telling me well, and I'm going to get into that because you said the budget is never the budget.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I acquired their property.
Okay. So once you started renovating it, though, especially for the people that work a 9 to 5, like how'd you structure that, or how'd you manage your rehab project while still working the job?
So I had a GC. So his job is to manage the job.
Say it again. You said what?
I had a GC, general contractor. Okay. So
right.
his job, I hired him, you know, obviously to get things done and to manage all the subcontractors. So at that point, I'm still kind of like a GC and just more so like a quarterback. If that makes sense. So I hired a GC so he can manage it because I had a 9 to 5, but still I would go to my property every single day and kind of like, it wasn't even just to go behind him, but it was kind of like to get my ideas together so I could communicate it to him in time so we can get things how I want.
Okay.
And prior to that, you know, me and my GC had, you know, we met up at the property to kind of discuss like what I wanted to do, if it fit in the budget. So hopefully that answers your question.
Got you. Okay. So, and then with that, you know, once you started renovating the property, like Did everything go smooth? Did you have any hiccups? Like, what was the experience for you? Just now that you've rehabbed the property, because this was a full gut.
Yeah, this was a full gut. Everything went smooth, right? Everything went smooth. And the reason why was because I already had like a good relationship with my contractor prior to us doing business together. And what I want to say. So I want to go back just a little bit before I talk about that.
Okay.
I told you I bought a house using a 2 or 3K loan,
Mm-hmm.
hired a contractor, and everything just went to hell. Like it just was bad.
Okay.
It was kind of like a blessing because I learned, like I know what stuff looks like when it's not done right.
Right.
And then he got over on me with like almost every line in the book. So now I know like when a contractor says certain
Smoke up
things.
yet. Right.
Exactly. He was like, I got a team. Meanwhile, it was just him. It took him like 7 months to do a bathroom in the kitchen.
Right.
So I was happy for that because I'm like, look, I'd rather it happen with a small amount of money versus like a big project like this.
Right.
So with Dane, who was my GC, prior to my rehab, we had talked a couple times, and I kind of was like secretly interviewing him. He didn't know, but we both had the same gripe, and that was dealing with contractors who lie, can't do the job and all that other stuff. So I just felt good about him. I seen his work. I was able to go to one of his job sites. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, I seen his work. I was able to go to one of his job sites, and that was it. So like when we started the rehab, I gave him my numbers. Told him what I wanted to do. He shot out some ideas. Some ways we could save money. So yeah, it just went smooth. Matter of fact, me and Dane only in my project one time together. Like that's how I said. Me and Dane, me and my GC, were only in my property at the same time, one time. Like that's how good. I'm gonna say that's how good his communication was. Wake up and he's like, yo, did you order this yet? Did you order that? What are we doing with this? Like he would send me pictures, send me videos. Like he had me really under pressure.
Because he was trying.
The thing I like about him, I want to say this for a brief sec. The thing I like about him, he's an investor himself. So he don't really he don't want to spend all year on your project. He wants it done. He wants it done right because his name is on the line. But he also wants to get through it and get through it without any issues so he can move on to one of his projects as well.
Right.
So from start to finish, the rehab was like, the numbers were right. The rehab was great.
Okay, so that's what's up. So now that you've renovated the property, what's the next steps for you? What you got going on now with the property?
I'm finishing up the refi. And I think I was telling you about like the interest only.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finishing up the refi with another hard money lender. No doc loans. And no doc means like no tax returns, no nothing. But it's a 30-year mortgage, interest only for the first 10 years. And it's looking like I might see like a $800-900 cash flow per month.
Nice. And you'll be able to refinance your money back out and pay all your credit back down. So like some people get intimidated with the mortgage payment and having all these credit cards to pay. So can you talk about like how do you manage all these credit cards and the mortgage payments and everything and still trying to live your life? Because your life's, you still got to live your life as well.
Ooh, I'm not even going to lie to you. I didn't. Wait, hold on. I do got a question. She said, how long did the full renovation take?
Right.
We started like August 15th. And we finished like the end of November.
That's fast.
Yeah, and we could have finished sooner, but I'm still a rookie at it. So like some stuff that I was supposed to order earlier, I didn't. But yeah, only a couple months.
Okay, that's good money.
Well, let me get back. What was your question again? My bad.
The question was the credit cards. Like how how did you manage keeping up with the credit cards and the mortgage payments?
So the simple answer to that, my 9 to 5.
Okay.
That's how I was able to pretty much pay all these credit cards. And balance transfers. Because this is what happened. So our money lender, obviously you got to put out money and then they reimburse you. Put out money, then they reimburse you. So the rookie mistake that I made when I gave the lender my budget, I was excited. I was all in a rush, right? I gave him my budget. For example, I might have put $2,500 for demo, but the demo ended up costing me like $4,500 or $5,000 to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
So during my first draw, I had spent like $27,000. I'm like, yeah, just do this, do that, finish everything. I wasn't really organized. I asked the lender for a draw, expecting to get my $27,000 back, and they're like, no, we only give you $7,000. And that's when it hit me. They're only going to give you what you put down on the budget sheet. So if you put down, plumbing costs you $10,000, but it really costs you $12,000, they're only giving you $10,000.
Right.
On the flip side, if you put down plumbing costs you
12.
$10,000 or $12,000, but it only costs you $10,000,
Now you
12, and you're gonna be ahead.
Nah, so Keith, I think that's critical, right? So, and it's hard to explain sometimes. So like I tell people my total budget could be $100,000, right? But to your point, I'm low in the front of the draws heavy. So the things like roof, demo, framing, you can't really tell a person what the budget is for roof, demo, framing, right? So like
Right.
you said, the goal is if the contractor's at one price, tell the lender another price. So now you can pay for roof, demo, framing, but then you've got a gap, just say of an extra 5-10 grand to get started on the electrical and plumbing now. The money
Right.
just keeps floating in the house. The money keeps carrying you. It's not extra money. You'll pay yourself at some point, but get all the way to the end, because then the other game changer is, let's just say you're doing this rehab and an issue comes up. There's a leak, there's a problem underground, something you didn't account for. It could be anything. But now anything that you have quote unquote extra, it'll help save you so you're not reaching in your your pockets. I'm rehabbing a property now where, like, again, the rehab is all working for itself, and literally I'm basically getting the house for free because none of the money is coming out of my physical pocket. Between the down payment money, between the rehab money, it's carrying the house itself, and I'm able to live my life. That's what's up.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. That's the way to keep the project moving, because again, something's going to come up, or even you might want to change something. Imagine you do a rehab, you walk in a certain room, you're like, yo, I want to expose this brick, but it wasn't in the budget. Now, again, it's already accounted for because you got some cushion in there. So when you're doing these rehab draws and these rehab schedules, estimates, again, always remember, talk to your contractor, try to keep the numbers as firm as you can, but then give yourself some wiggle room. As long as it works for the total budget, the lender will approve it. They don't know if you only paid 5 and but you told them it was 10. As long as it makes sense and you don't go out of them parameters, because again, you what you said, Keith, the lender is not going to help bridge any gaps if things go. The money that you're signed for at the table, that's what you're going to get.
Hold on, you breaking up? All right, I got you. And the crazy part is, you got that, you got to pay, you got your mortgage payment per month.
on the first automatic withdrawal.
Right. So I'm paying my mortgage, and then I'm paying like $1,100 for this, and I'm like maxed out on the credit card. So I had to go to another credit card and another credit card, and I end up dipping into my own funds to keep it, just keep it short. I ended up pretty much paying for the rehab.
Okay.
My own funds and cash. Like my last draw, and I did it in 3 draws, which was pretty good, but I wouldn't rather do that. But my last draw was $47,000.
Because you got it all back in one hit.
Right. So all the money that I should have been getting was all like later on in the project. My rough end, for example, I think my rough end, matter of fact, I did I had a sump pump, French drain, and some other stuff put in, right? And that all together ran me like 8,000, right? Or something like that. But on the paper, I'm just putting anything, right? I'm just putting anything to equal whatever the budget is, right? So on the paper, I had like $250. Like, it was crazy. When I realized, I was like, yo, this is wild.
At that point, you was like, man, let me just use my money and get through the project. And since the money's there, I'm gonna just get it on the back end versus them pissing me off and slow dripping me. And now it's slowing up the project. And that's what you'll see, because the contractor, you can't say, yo, you gonna get your money later on, like, because it's good. He don't want to hear that. His contract is with you. Your contract is with the hard money people. So if you don't pay him, or you don't pay her or him, they are not gonna work.
And the thing is, Dane was working so fast. I almost wanted to tell him, like, yo, you gotta slow up. Like, and like, he threw me out. He was
come up with this money. I can't just go pull it out the air.
I gave him so much money, like, up front, because I was just ready. I trusted him, so I was just ready. I'm like, yo, 7,000, 6,000. He's like, yo, you can chill. But yeah, that was like my biggest. I would say that was probably like my biggest mistake. Like, it didn't hurt me too much because I had reserves. Like, I really could have just funded the rehab, most of it. But yeah, I would tell anybody, like, before you jump into real estate, make sure you have reserves. Like, I mean, the discipline and managing your money and all that, that's one thing, but make sure you have reserves. I don't care if it's 10,000, whatever it is, because they will come in handy.
So the other thing I would push, or let me say not push, the other thing that I would ask, being that I'm assuming this was like your biggest independent purchase of like spending money. Like,
absolutely.
But now that you've done it, would you say it's kind of motivated you and made you feel, like giving you like superhuman strength?
A little bit.
So, and I'm more, I guess I'm saying that to say, like, now that you went through the part that you didn't know you were going to go through, and now you've got this new skill set, has your confidence grown in it?
But you know what? It hasn't grown as much as it did when I did my 2 or 3K.
Okay.
And the reason why, I know I keep going back to that, but the reason why was because that contractor drove me so crazy, right? That he drove me crazy. I had to, like, started doing work in my own house. And I was like, yo, before I hire somebody else, I'm going to do it myself.
I got
During the pandemic, you've been in my house. I tore down a wall, framed a whole fireplace, almost electrocuted myself. Like, I did a lot, wiring, all types of stuff. So, like, the fear, I think my first purchase, like, I got over a lot of fears, and I was confident that I could either do work or, I could, handle the financial part. So, like, this added to the confidence. I think just, if anything, it gave me confidence that I think I could survive any deal.
Ooh, that's nice.
Wrong, to be honest with you. And I don't mean that, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's a math problem at the end of the day, but I think I got the resources. I have the people, you, Lorenzo, like, I've kind of built my relationship with people that, right, if I run into an issue, I can, I know how to get out of it. And if I don't know how to get out of it, somebody does.
I don't know if y'all heard that. He said, hey, it's me, right? I'm the one that got to depend on me. But at the same token, I have people around me that support what I'm doing. And I can reach out and make a phone call, But on top of that, you're humble enough to say, hey, I'm not scared to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't want their pride to get, they get in the way. Their pride gets in the way, and it's like, yo, I don't want to ask for help, or I don't want to admit this. And it's like, if you don't admit it, nobody can technically relate to you in order to help you.
Right.
So it's super cool when you hear like you said, like you got burnt, you had issues with a contractor. I got burnt by a contractor. Lorenzo been burnt. So we all have something to relate to. So it's like we can share pointers so that the next person don't have to go through that.
Mm-hmm. And that, you know what, my first project, which is my first house, I didn't reach out. Like my uncle's a developer. You know him, Holloway.
Holloway?
Mike.
Mike, yeah, Mike Holloway. Yup.
Yeah. Yeah, like I should have reached out to him when I first bought my home, just like on how to deal with the situation. And I did, it was kind of like, oh, I got it, or whatever the case might be.
Right.
And I finally did. He was like, yo, man, you could have reached out to me earlier. I could have kind of showed you how to maneuver.
Right.
But yeah, with real estate, it is. I think somebody put it in here. That, your network is your net worth. That's 100% true. Because when I look at like even this deal, right, between you, shout out to the group that I was in or still a part of, because they,
Right.
they gave motivation. We all shared resources, but you, Herman, I mean, even shout out people I ain't never even like did business with. Newt, Lorenzo, Coach Carter, like information from each and every one of those people. Dame, my contractor. So really, it was a team effort. Like I couldn't have done it without, my resources.
And I'm saying most of these people you've been able to connect through social media.
So yes, over the last year, yes. But prior to that, I just made sure I was in the right rooms. So anytime, y'all post a lot of events, home buyers events. I've probably been to like 3 of your home buyers events, and I ask the same damn questions. I don't care. Home buyers events, the blueprint, seminars and stuff. I show up every time.
Okay.
Always
No, that's
something you're gonna learn that you didn't know before. Always gonna be somebody there that you haven't connected with before. And one thing I learned is like when you at these events, definitely like don't just go there information and leave. Like open your mouth, talk to everybody, tell them what you're looking to do. If you're looking to get a property, you don't know how to get the money, or you don't know, nobody's giving you the money. There's people who they do private money. They'll give it to you.
right. No, so it's like I can second that because the last event we had, I got one of my private investors from the last event. That's how I'm doing the 6-unit project now from the event. Just like you said, just by communicating and talking to people, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like people be like, yo, you Joe or you hype in Philly. No, how everybody else in a different community and culture wins because they communicate and they collaborate. Because it's enough for all of us. Like you said, you just in a group chat and like, yo, somebody posted a deal and it was like, oh, I'm ready. So
Yeah.
again, don't be scared to keep putting yourself in different rooms. And in 2022, is no reason why you can't figure it out. You're not gonna fail. In 2022 is no such thing as failure. We might stumble, but we're not gonna fail. So just
Correct.
make sure again, you more so ready to just receive your opportunities and ask for help if you need it. Be humble enough to ask for help. But nah, Keith, I also, I told you before, like super, super proud of you. I'm super inspired because you jump 2 feet in, head first in the pool, the deep end, and you didn't, like you said, you started out with a 203K. Now you went to a full project, a full rehab project, and you made it come to life. You had a vision, you executed. And I think a lot of people don't understand the piece of saying you want to do something and really the difference between saying it and executing. It wasn't a lot. Like you said, you had to stop thinking, and just go do it. And next thing you know, you realize you were signing papers and getting keys. And now you
Yeah.
give keys to your tenants that's moving in there. So, it's like, yo, like, it's powerful when you see your actions actually come to life,
You know,
and go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say it's crazy because you did ask me about like if I felt like super confident, and it's like after realizing that one job, even though I make a decent amount, but I can manage all of this. Like often that I look at homes that are like or apartment buildings that are like 400,000, 500,000. Because for me, it's like, all right, this one single family took me like 3-4 months, which is not bad. But to
Right.
get to where I'm trying to get to, like I need multifamilies, and I'm not scared to drop 50,000, 60,000. It's all the same, stuff to me. Um, so yeah, I mean that's you get that one deal under your belt, and you're
And
good.
go from there. Nah, that's dope. That's dope. So once you finish the refi, you said you're gonna put the tenant in there. So I mean, what's next? You ready to jump back in the fire, or you think about taking a break?
That's a good question. So I don't want to. I don't want to take a break, but I have to be honest with myself. I need to regroup a little bit, pay off some a little bit of debt, and just kind of like the market's kind of crazy right now. It's like
Right.
in uncharted territory, especially for a person like me. So I'm gonna look at some deals. Obviously I'm gonna tap my network. See what we come up with. But I'm definitely looking for a multifamily after this.
Understandable, understandable. And I'm also saying it's funny you say that because I spent a long time playing with the single families, and now that I did my first 6 unit apartment building, like you said, it was no different than me doing one house, but doing six single houses, different places. And now that I did the one building all at once,
Right.
I got a new love for the multifamilies. And when I tell you the finance bag is completely different with the multifamilies, dog, dog. I just need the rich to get raised every year.
Yeah.
With this one multifamily paying car note, insurance, tuition, and it got some room for some other stuff in there.
And some more Jordans, huh?
We we'll use one of the other properties for that. We trying to slow down on the Jordans. We
Right.
trying. But it's definitely an option though. It's definitely an option. But now I keep. But definitely I appreciate that. So if you could tell somebody that's looking to get started and they're like, "Yo, I want to do it. I think I'm ready, but like, I don't know. Like, what would you tell them to help them go ahead and get the motor going?"
Whew, that's a hard one. Even though that should be a simple answer, that's a hard one. I would just advise them to just come to your blueprint, your ride along. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not even trying to like promote it and all that other stuff. I mean, I am, but
What you mean, right? You're not gassing it up,
I mean, it's what I know. It's what worked for me. I've done it 2 times, so I'm not gonna tell you to go to something that hasn't worked for me.
right?
So I mean, I would go to that. Like whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's somebody, like find somebody that's doing what you want to do in real estate, whether it's flipping or buying and holding. Pick their brain, ask them, like have them walk you through, their project
Okay,
if they can. You know what I mean? And I think some things you have to see. You can't
agreed.
just you got to see, and then you got to get the real story. Like for example, what's a good example? Well, yeah, you just got to see certain things, and it's good to like not only pick people's brains like Anthony, but pick somebody like my brain. Pick somebody who's fresh, because their mistakes are fresh.
Yeah,
When a
yup.
person comes to you, you've made more mistakes than you can remember. But if they come to me and they say, "Yo, what was your biggest mistake?" I know because I made it yesterday, and it's most likely the mistake that they're going to make because they're right behind me.
Right. Yup.
So that
No,
would be my advice.
no, that's real good, man. I love that, man. I love that. Um, Somebody just asked the question: do you need a certain amount of single family properties before you explore multifamily? No. So you can do multifamily whenever you can afford to do multifamily or whenever the opportunity, you know, comes for you. We were just saying that for Keith, he was saying that he realized he'd rather do multifamily because he felt like the single family was a good starting point. And then the same thing with me. I was saying that I felt I wasn't confident enough when I really had the same skill set I had then that I have now, but it was more so confidence holding me back from trying to do bigger multifamily deals.
You know what? Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now, I was going to say another piece of advice, two pieces of advice. One, and I got both of these from you. How you look on paper.
Say it again.
Know how you look on paper. What I mean by that, when you know your credit profile, when you know how you look financially, you're going to know if you can go into a bank and get that credit or that line of credit, business credit. Also, start where you are. That was like the most powerful thing you ever said to me, because a lot of people, like you might be right there. You might be a person with credit. You don't have the funds. You just don't know that, you don't know where to get the funds. Like you basically just look at your situation and say, okay, identify where you're at and how far you have to go. A lot of times you'll find that you're probably only 2 steps away.
2 steps away from changing your whole life.
Like there's nothing, if it wasn't for analysis paralysis, like overthinking, there's nothing that I did this year that I couldn't have done 2-3 times over. I want to say a year and a half ago.
We gonna leave it with that right there, Keith. That alone. That was the one gem for the night they just need to stick with. So with that said, again, salute to you, Keith. I definitely appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you, at the refi table. I know that's coming up. And then I think you just sparked something. So we need to do another ride along real soon. I'm gonna talk to Lorenzo, put together a ride along, and we're gonna get some people to come out so y'all can actually see. Again, it's a difference when you read about it, you hear about it, but when you see it, and now you can make the connection to what you heard, it makes it a lot easier to go through the process. So, so definitely I like that. We're gonna get you to teach part of the class because you got
you know what? Because you got me out of my comfort zone with this like public speaking. I mean, this Instagram, so it's different, and salute to you because it ain't my thing. But I'm down with that. But I was gonna say this. Originally, I wanted to, before I got done my project, actually right after I got done it, I wanted to have a live where I walked you through my project.
Okay.
I think that would kind of be dope.
Well, the tenants ain't in there yet, right?
No, well,
I know. So I'm saying,
no.
So let's talk, because I could pull up Saturday, and we could connect Saturday. I got me and Rajan gonna be together Saturday, and we could do like a walkthrough.
Yeah,
so
that might work.
That's so in the afternoon. That'd be perfect. So I'm gonna shoot you a text after this. But we definitely appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Keith, again, salute, congrats to you. Super proud and glad to hear. Like, a lot of people use the excuse, I got a job, I can't do this, I can't do that, but it's all in your head. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Again, like you said, if you put it to paper and start where you are, you'd be surprised what you could do in a short amount of time.
Facts.
So, so again, thank you, Keith. I look forward to connecting with you this weekend. And we'll be talking, good brother.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate you having me.
No problem. Thank you. And thank you guys for tuning in. This will be saved on my page and also sent to the YouTube page. If you want to watch this video or any of the other ones, hit the link in my bio. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thanks, Chant.
Thank you.